All right, welcome to KM6LYW Radio. Hey, we are not in the shack today. In fact, we are in Northern California in the Sierra Nevada mountains going on a backpacking trip. But this could be a soda or parks activation or anything like that. You know, we talk about having a radio go box for all of your radio stuff in a crisis or off grid situation. But what about you? What do you need in a crisis or off grid situation? What's in your go bag? In fact, you're going to need a go bag for your radio go box. We're going to do this backpacking today. I'm going to take you along with me, and we're going to find out what's in here and what's going to keep me alive this time on KM6LYW Radio. And no, I don't have any bumper music, and I'm not going to sing for you guys. Let's keep going. So, you know, when you're packing your radio go box, you come up with a list of requirements and constraints and question them a lot. Is everything you need really required? Are your constraints real? You know, when you're packing a radio, you're asking yourself, well, is there going to be a VHF repeater or something? And you know, even if there isn't, don't forget the International Space Station will probably pass overhead 3 times a day. They've got a voice repeater on there and an APRS packet repeater. So, you know, that's one constraint you can always question when you're packing your radio. And of course, you got to ask yourself, you know, who, what, when, where, how, and why. You know, who are you going to talk to, when you're going to talk to them, how are you going to talk to them, what mode, what frequency. Maybe you got some operational security, you want to channelize some frequencies. You know, ask yourself all those questions and make notes of that stuff and share it with people. So when you're packing your bug out bag, it's exactly the same thing. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. Hey, when I've got a bug out and I'm off grid, who am I going to be with? If I'm going to be by myself, that means I got to bring 2 of everything. 2 of everything. You know, 2 matches, 2 lighters, even 2 sets of glasses. I don't know if you're as blind as I am. You better have an extra set of glasses, 2 flashlights. That's going to start adding up. As far as constraints go on your pack, how much can you realistically carry? I've got 30 pounds in my back. That's a constraint. We got to ask the question, where are you? I am currently in the Sierra Nevada mountains. I am at almost 7,000 feet of elevation, and it is October. That's going to make a difference into what I put in my pack, and it's going to make a big difference in you know, how much stuff I can carry. You know, obviously I need more stuff if it's going to be a more hostile climate. All right, let's keep going. Got another couple lakes to go. I've got 3 miles down, I think a couple more to go. I've already kayaked 1.5 miles to get to the start of this trailhead, and that's the Buck Island Lake over there. All right, see you at the next stop. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Let's make with the radio stuff, Craig. Let's talk about radio stuff. This is an amateur radio channel. I get it. All right, so hey, what I've got with me is the Yaesu FT1XDR, favorite HT of all time. This is a diamond. If I had my glasses, I could tell you exactly what this is, but this is basically what I call a dummy load that doesn't poke your eye out. I keep that on my backpack. I've got the standard rubber duck. In fact, if you want UHF, this is probably your best bet. This does well. Where I'm at here, the assumptions I can make here are that there is a UHF repeater that is a link to a VHF repeater in the Central California. So I can do UHF voice, and I can do APRS packet, and there's a ditch repeater over there a few miles down the road as well. So, you know, I can always send my position. I know everyone, there's my position being repeated back to me, so I know I'm in range. I got a wide 1, wide 2 digipath, okay, so that way I know it's at least bouncing around Northern California, making it to an iGate somewhere. The XYL can see me on APRS.FI every time I send that beacon. It's reassuring, right? I'm the only one here. Like I said, you know, I got to ask myself, who am I with? I'm with no one. There's no one for miles. No one. I've been walking for hours and haven't seen another person. So this is important. Communication is obviously important. Don't forget you can use these for SMS texting, email. Like I said, the ISS flies over a couple of times a day. You can send an SMS message through the ISS. But that's a whole nother video. Check out the rest of the channel for that. All right, and then, you know, I've also got the signal stick, which I really like, that has a counterpoise on it. So this is like a center fed half wave antenna, right? This one really reaches out on VHF. So when I'm way up here and I need to reach that VHF digipeater, I use this quite a bit. And then of course when I'm at camp, I have the roll-up J-pole. You get these on eBay. This is that 300 ohm twin lead stuff, super light. And this is all I need to be in the middle of nowhere, walking on the King's land in God's country. And I am completely in communication with everyone. The cell phone that I brought with me, mobile for those of you in Europe, it is useless. Well, the only thing it's good for is recording these videos right now, which is what you're watching. So I am at the Rockbound Lake. I just making a water stop here, purifying the water, though I don't even know if you need to purify the water here, but hey, that's another topic. We'll talk about that as well. All right, so I'm going to water up here, and I'm going to go a few more miles in, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the what needs to go in the bug out bag, the big three. We'll talk about that next. Let's go. Okay, highest point for the hike here. Hopefully there's not too much wind. My destination is right over there, the Rubicon Reservoir. So, I mentioned the big three. Maybe it's kind of a backpacking thing. I don't know. Everyone mentions the big three. It might be a prepper thing. I don't know if I'm addressing the prepper community or the backpacking community, the Summits on the Air community, the ham radio community, but we've got a lot in common when it comes to our bug out bags. So the big three, that's going to be your backpack, that's going to be your sleeping system, and it's going to be your shelter. That could be a tent or a tarp, or could be a hammock. A lot of guys are into hammocks now. So I got a backpack, obviously. I've got a tent in here and a sleeping bag for my sleeping system. Now when it comes to the big three, there's basically three properties associated with them. You can either get affordable, durable, or lightweight. You get to choose two, all right? You don't get to have all three, affordable, durable, or lightweight. Now the ultralight backpackers, they're paying a fortune, right? But they don't have a lot of weight on their backs, and but their stuff's breaking down on a regular basis. You get to buy it again, I guess. I'm kind of in between. I'm not ultralight packer. An ultralight packer means you got 10 pounds on your back for a base weight. I'm at about 30 pounds, but I got a lot of stuff I don't really need in my backpack here. There's some extra stuff. We'll talk about that too. So if you're thinking about that for your big three, you're going to want a sleeping system, you're going to want a shelter, and you're going to want a backpack. And try and figure out what you're going to need between affordable, durable, or lightweight, because you just can't have them all. A lot of people have multiples of everything. I know I have a few different things. I'm in October, kind of in the off season, and there's 3 season versus 2 season equipment. So be thinking about that. Your big three. There's going to be your 3 most expensive items by far when you're building your bug out bag. All right, let's go down to Rubicon Reservoir. This doesn't look like there's too much water in it. I'm a little concerned. I might camp on this side of it, but that's going to be my camp. I'll see you down there. Yeah, good morning. It's about 46 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe 6 to 8 Celsius centigrade. I didn't go to that lake. It was a little too muddy, a little too dry. It's pretty late in the year. We don't get rains in the summer here, so picked out a spot a couple of miles upstream where we do in fact have water, and we've got the tent up. We're making breakfast and coffee, and of course we got the radio already online. I'd show you how APRS Droid works, but it's actually running on the phone that's taking this video. So yeah, I've got the Yaesu HT going on right here, and the Mobilink D TNC going. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is that 300 ohm twin lead is my antenna right now. What's cool about that is I can actually walk around camp with my phone and get texts or emails or SMSs. And I don't have to move the radio, and I can turn the power way down on the radio, because after a day of backpacking yesterday, that radio was dead, DED, dead. So I have a backup battery here that I use to charge it overnight, and then we're going to recharge that with the solar panel. But we'll cover that in a bit. Good morning. All right, the sun just came up, man. It's freezing out here. Well, I don't know, freezing for California, maybe not for those of you in Northern Europe or South Dakota. All right, so let's talk about this stuff. We're talking about only the essential, right? No, I brought a lot more than the essential. I know you guys are already saying, you probably already saw this. First things first, we actually have a camping chair. You get these at REI, fantastic. Yeah, they're a couple of pounds, but man, it sure beats sitting on a cold rock. So this kind of brings up the topic of needs versus wants, okay? The chair is not a need, it's a want. But hey, I have a 30-pound budget. I don't know, my foot's kind of complaining this morning, so I might need to actually lower my budget. So and I'm only going to be here 2 nights, so I can put a couple extra pounds in the pack. So I'm sitting in a chair talking to you guys. So let's go over the gear list, and it's really up to you to decide if something's essential or not, right? So first off, I've got the solar panel. This is how I'm charging my phone and my radio, and it's hooked up to an Anker battery. think this is a 6800 milliamp, and it's a USB 5 volt. This is on Amazon, marketed it as, it's kind of gray market, as a 6-watt panel. I really like these. Renogy makes some cool ones, or at least they used to. Do not touch this if you have sunscreen on your fingers. Kind of learned that the hard way. And just get a single USB cable that does USB micro, and then get a Type-C adapter. That way you can charge, you know, all the different competing USB connector brands. So that is the solar, 0.8 amps at 4.7 volts. You guys can do the math. I can't do that in my head. It's you know, maybe 3.5, 4 watts. Okay, it's not like a cell phone charger. It's about half speed solar panel, and that stays on top of my backpack all day long. And for a little boost, like when it's charging on a rock, get a piece of tin foil. This weighs almost nothing, and you can use it as a lid and put it under your panel, so you can use it like a mirror when the sun's low in the sky. All right, that's something to consider, is that tin foil. It'll give you a little extra boost. So as far as needs and wants goes, you gotta have water. All right, this is a Sawyer Squeeze filter here in the middle. This is a knock bag. What's cool about this is, you ever tried to fill like a bottle or a, you know, in a lake? You can't do it. You can't swish water into it. So what's cool about these is the back of them actually opens up, and you can scoop water into the bag with one fell scoop. All right, that's a knock bag Sawyer Squeeze water filter. This is the mini version. A lot of people like the bigger version. It's up to you. And then it's a gravity feed. You know, you get a couple of feet ahead here, and then you put your what I use are smart water bottles under this. It's not that I like smart water. Water is water, hydrogen and oxygen as far as I'm concerned, but these are narrow and they fit in your backpack really well. So we got water done. All right, so you want to have a bunch of food, and this atrocity that weighs 2.5 pounds I have to bring because of government. So this in theory will keep bears out of my food. It worked last night, but mostly because there are no bears on this side of Desolation Wilderness. But if you're walking on the King's land, you will carry a bear canister. Of course, you got all your good stuff in there. I'm not going to tell you what to bring to eat. One point on the food is bring fiber. Focus on fiber when you're backpacking or summits on the air or prepping or putting stuff in your go bag. And continuing on the food thing. All right, this part up here is an MSR Pocket Rocket stove. Love this thing. And then this is an isobutane canister, about 230 grams. I burn about 40 grams a day, and that's including my coffee and oatmeal in the morning and reheating, you know, like noodles and stuff for dinner. And the coffee, what I use for coffee is you can get these Folgers dippers. They're really no mess. It's kind of like making tea, only it's with coffee. If you're using freeze-dried meals, it's really hard to get to the food in the bottom of them. This is a titanium spoon, pretty light. I don't know how essential that is, but you got to have something like that. Also have a measuring cup. Most freeze-dried foods require, like, you know, exactly 1/4 cup of water, and this is the lightest measuring cup I could find. It's just a cut-up water bottle. I've got some hot pads here. I've got several ways to start fire. This is a sparker, just a piece of flint, or I don't know what they're using these days. It's probably not even flint. And the striker. You know, I also have matches here as well. If you're by yourself, you're going to need 2 of everything, right? You're going to need 2 pairs of glasses, 2 ways to start fires, because you just can't borrow stuff from other people. So if you're prepping or you got your go bag and you got to go, and you know you're going to be by yourself, you're going to need that stuff. I'm a vegetarian, so I have to cook a lot of vegetables. So I actually cook in this thing. This is heavy, all right? This is porcelain steel. I also like to eat and drink my coffee at the same time, so 2 heatable containers that I can put on top of that stove. When it comes to need versus want, hey, if you got an inflatable mattress, I don't know who makes this, Flex Tail Gear. Let's see if I can get this to start. It's an air pump, and you can blow dry your hair with it. This is multi-use. And on top of that, when you're done blowing up your mattress, it blinks weird, it's an actual light that you can hang in the top of your tent. So this is a multi-use item, weighs a little bit, USB rechargeable. It's just a lot of fun. Totally not necessary, but boy, sure it beats blowing up your air mattress. I'm just going through the pile here. I've got a bunch of I didn't go to the lake, unfortunately, but this is a telescopic fishing pole that you really can't break the tip off of, and I've kind of that taped together. The smallest graphite reel, spinning reel I could find, and this is my entire tackle box. You can't really bring weight because you don't want to carry lead in your backpack. Whatever fish eat on in your area, this is put in your tackle box. This is my ditty bag. It's a bag for ditties. A ditty is all the incidental items. Mostly, I guess we could call it my electronics bag. My wife calls it my electronical stuff. So I showed you the solar charger that hooks up to this thing. This will charge any kind of cylindrical cell, lithium through alkaline chemistry. You find these in Amazon. PowerTac. That's a name you can trust there, but you can put any kind of cylindrical cell in there, and it'll charge using your backup battery. You can hook these together and you go from here to here. This is kind of like your gas tank. This is what you fill up with the solar panel all day, and then use these little adapters to charge things that need charging. We've got that. 2 sources of light. All right, so this is one of the smallest lights I could find. Olight. Anything made by Olight is good. It gets incredibly bright. 3 different modes. Like I said, I got a backup light here with my mattress inflator. So I got 2 sources of light. 'Cause remember, if you drop a light on the ground, it's not like it's going to break. If you drop it on the ground when it's dark, it's gone. Forget about it. You got to go find your other light. Actually, there's a 3rd source of light here. Check this out. You guys seen one of those? You can buy like little 5-packs of these on Amazon. What's cool about these is these are incredibly light. They're just printed circuit board, and they have LEDs on them, and you put them in your backup battery, and you got a backup light, and this costs basically nothing, and there's no weight to it really. So those are called Yeti lights, I think. There's a lot of OEMs for those. A lot of people bring big knives on the trail. I don't. This is the smallest knife/pliers I can find. So for fishing, you're going to need pliers, and then for everything else, incidentals, I don't know, maybe you're cutting cordage, you got a pocket knife here. This super duper light. I really don't use it that much. I use the pliers for fishing more than anything. I don't find that a lot of stuff needs cutting in the woods. I don't know. I threw this S-clip in here. I was thinking I could hang stuff from the tent. I didn't need it. That'll go off the list. You guys are into radio stuff. This is the signal stick with counterpoise. So, this goes on top of the radio. It's a 1/4 wave, 1/2 wave antenna. Then you add this little guy to it with the quick connect, and then screw that into your radio, and you got a center fed 1/2 wave. It like doubles your gain. I've actually put it on the meter. Check out one of my other videos for the HT antenna shootout. This is the rubber duck for the Yaesu, and I've got a couple of USB cables in here, and this is one of the cool things. So when I'm charging my Yaesu radio, which I already showed you, this is a Baofeng USB charger. So ultimately it's called a buck converter. So inside here is a buck converter. You plug this into your backup battery like this, and a little red light comes on that you put tape over because it's too bright when you're trying to sleep, and then put an end on for your radio here, and this is a 12 volt. This ups the 5 volts to 12 volts, which charges your radio. But don't try and use your radio when this is operating, because this is just a VHF wipeout. You will get no reception when you're running a buck converter, especially one from a name trusted like Baofeng. So yeah, get the Baofeng charging cable and eviscerate it, and make it shorter, and put an end on for your radio. This charges my radio overnight. This combination, the HT over there, it's actually hooked up to this phone right now over Bluetooth. So to stop from freezing to death, all right, you're gonna have to invest in a down jacket. So down's gonna be lighter. It's not waterproof, okay? It's gonna be lighter, but it's not waterproof, so don't get this wet under any circumstance. If you get this wet, you might as well be wearing a wet newspaper. So make sure you keep this dry. Make sure you have some sort of rain shell or something to put on top of that. I'm actually looking where I put it down. There's water right over there. Make sure that's cool. And speaking of rain shells, actually this jacket actually is pretty expensive. You don't have to get a really expensive one. This is a Mountain Hardwear. This is the brand Mountain Hardwear. They make great stuff. This is kind of a buy once, cry once kind of investment. The same thing goes for the rain shell. This is what keeps that insulation dry, and it's a windbreaker. So this is going to be Outdoor Research Helium 2, super duper light, somewhat breathable fabric. I don't know. But this in combination with the down puffy will keep you very warm, and it's not very heavy. Really isn't very heavy. You got to keep the sun off your face, otherwise your face will start looking like mine. So get a hat. You don't have to look good in the woods, but you don't look good when you're all sunburned and got skin cancer either. So that's the hat. I think Tilly makes that. So this is a sun shirt. It's actually polyester. Love this one. Keeps the sun off your arms, so I don't have to put sunscreen on my arms. I hate sunscreen. And I can flip the collar up to keep the sun off my neck. Any clothing made by Cool brand clothing, it's really good stuff. I haven't found anything bad from them yet. In fact, I think these pants are cool. Now these pants are cool. These are actually convertibles. They're not sexy, but you can turn these pants into shorts by unzipping the cuffs there. And I've got my sunglasses are in here. And also, go out and buy some shock cord. It's basically elastic cord. It looks like this. And just tie it into a bunch of rings and whatnot. You know, rings you can double up. Everything that you have, most of this stuff I roll up into rolls and then put rings around, because you'll find you're going to run out of volume real quick in your backpack if you don't compress everything as tight as possible. So weight's important, but volume's also important. In fact, speaking of volume, here's some dry bags. You can check these out too. You know, if you want to keep something dry, you can roll this over a few times, clip it like this. They're a little heavy for what they are, but I still bring them. All right, speaking of volume, let's talk about the big three. Now, we talked about the big three. They are your backpack, they are your tent, and your sleeping system, which could be a sleeping bag or a hammock or something. So we're going to look at the big three. I don't know how much sun we're going to get here. All right, so the backpack. This is a 48-liter backpack by Osprey. It's called the Osprey Exos. I don't know if they make this exact one anymore. I don't know if this helps if I get this in the sun. How about that? This is about 2.5 pounds empty. That's kind of good. If you're an ultralight backpacker, you're going to want to get something from the cottage industry that's made out of Dyneema fabric. This is kind of a technical fabric. It's made out of nylon. So 48 liters. I know you're thinking 48 liters. That isn't a lot, Craig. But if you get a 50, 60 liter backpack, unfortunately, you're just going to fill it with stuff, and it's going to be that much heavier. So I can fill that with 30 pounds of stuff, and it carries fairly well. They make heavier versions of that, like the Atmos, I think, is another popular one. So Osprey for backpacks, I like them. You can get them at REI. They're fairly commercial. Okay, so that's big item number one. It's expensive. I think I got it used, maybe $200. So big item number two is our tent. So this is, make sure I get this right. This is the, I don't know if I'm getting this or not, the Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2. This one's about $300, but it's also about 3 pounds if you can get rid of some of the stakes and extra cordage. Copper Spur UL2. Something to think about when you have tents is if you're doing a summit on the air. If you're doing a summit on the air, you're on the summit. So what's unique about the summit is it's going to be windy up there. So make sure whatever tent you get stands up to some kind of wind loading, all right? I don't know if this one's good or bad. I don't usually do summits. As you can see, I am in a valley here in Desolation Wilderness. All right, so in the tent, we're going to talk about the third thing, which is our sleeping system. And in this case, there's a few items. What I like is this is a 20-degree bag, so that means it's probably good down to 30 degrees. Most sleeping bags these days have an EN rating. They're serious about that. So yeah, they'll say it'll keep you alive like down to 0, but you're not going to sleep, that's for sure. So if you get an EN rating of 20 degrees Fahrenheit, you should be good down to 30 degrees. So that's down to freezing. If it's below freezing, I'm probably not going to go backpacking. But if this is your go bag, you might have to go any time of year. I like to bring pillows. I got an inflatable one, which shoots all over the place. I got something with batting in it. Yeah, these are a little heavy. And then most importantly is this air mattress by Neo Air Thermarest. It's by Thermarest, called Neo Air. And this is really light. I use my little blow-up pump to pump it up. Don't fill it full like a balloon. Let a lot of air out of it. That way you get the maximum loft, so your hips are almost touching the ground and you're getting maximum loft out of your pad. All right, I think I covered everything. I know I keep telling people pack light, only bring what you need. That was a lot of stuff. I'm just up here for leisure, for backpacking. So you decide what you need. You decide what you want. You decide what your weight budget is, how much volume you have in your backpack, and go from there. And make your summits on the air as fun as possible. If you overdo it, you're going to get an injury. My right foot isn't really good right now. So I'm thinking about lowering my weight budget. But then again, I walk 7.5 miles at 7,000 feet over uneven terrain here in Northern California. All right, that is the gear pile. One other thing I thought I should mention is this is something I don't usually talk about. Is you need, if you're in California, you're gonna need some sort of, well, like physical personal protection. In these woods, you are not an apex predator. You're not the top of the food chain here, so you're going to need something to defend yourself from predators like could be brown bears, probably not black bears. Mountain lions are common here, so that could be anything. It's really up to you what you're comfortable with. Defending yourself. I know the preppers are saying, don't say what you have, Craig, because you have operational security, and I'm not. Maybe use bear spray if that's cool. Use whatever it takes to defend yourself from predators in the area, and just be smart. Know your surroundings, and have a good time. All right, so that's the gear list. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Rubicon River, on the Rubicon Trail. I'm probably going to hike back down a little bit, and we'll spend another night there. I'll sign off probably from that location. Yeah, good morning again. Thanks for hanging out with me this weekend. This has been a lot of fun. I haven't had anyone to talk to but you guys. I'm about halfway back to the kayak. I got some hiking and some paddling to do today. This is called Rockbound Lake here. Not seeing any fish. Not sure if I should get the fishing pole out or not. But again, thanks for hanging out with me. Let me know what you've got in your go bag, whether your Summit's on the air, you're a prepper. What did I bring that was cool? What should I have left behind? Maybe what's something that's useless, maybe something that's just too heavy. Is there a lighter version or maybe more durable version of what I could be using out here? I know I've had a lot of fun backpacking. I know I don't need a lot of the stuff that's in my go bag, but a lot of it's just convenient and we're out here having fun. All right, guys, my name is Craig. This is KM6 LYW Radio, and I am clear.